This meeting will be recorded for public record. Chair Jones.
Advisory Safety Commission, City of Seaside Community Safety Advisory Commission is now called to order.
And the time is 5:49.
Time is 5:49. We'll start with roll call.
Community Safety Advisory Committee, roll call. Chair Jones.
Present.
Vice Chair Thomas.
Here.
Chair Amarante.
Here.
Chair Velasquez is absent at this time. Chair Filiaki is excused. I'm sorry, Commissioner Katz.
Present.
Okay. Chair Jones, we do have a quorum.
Thank you so much. At this point, we'll review our agenda. If there are any items that arose after the 72 hours posting deadline, this is the point in the meeting where a vote may be taken to add the item to the agenda. A 2/3 majority vote is required. Are there any additions to our agenda? Did everybody have a chance to review our agenda?
Yes.
All right.
Chair Jones, I don't see anyone in the Zoom lobby at this time. Oh, hold on, I do have someone. Oh, here's Chair Velasquez.
Yes, I was like, I'm here. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So Commissioner Velasquez is present. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry about coughing.
No
Sorry
problem.
about
Did you have anything
Living.
to add? Did you have anything to add to the agenda on tonight?
Oh no, I just put my hand up to let you guys know I was here.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
We need to approve the agenda. Change needed. At this time, we're open for public comments. Members of the public wish to address the commission on matters within the jurisdiction of the City of Seaside, but not on this agenda, may do so. The public comment period for up to 3 minutes. Comments on specific agenda items are heard under that item. For the public record, please state your name. We have no one in the gallery on this evening. We have anyone online?
No, we do not.
No members of the public is online. Therefore, public comments are now closed. We received the minutes from our August 20th, 2025 regular meeting. I think that was I think that's the minutes that we received. Are there any corrections? Did everybody have a chance to review the minutes from our meeting of August 20, 2025?
Yes.
You all had a chance. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes? There are none. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from August 20, 2025?
I motion to approve the minutes from August 20th.
I second.
It's been moved and second that we approve the minutes from August 20th. All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. All right. This time we're moving to our report from staff. Or no, our report for commissioners, I'm sorry. And we'll start with Commissioner Katz.
Nothing to report. Later, I would like a short discussion on a visitation of schools and such as that, if that's possible.
That's possible. Thank you so much. Vice Chair Thomas.
Yes, I believe we are ready to move forward with the purchase of our commission jackets. So what steps do we take in order to move forward with that? I have the pictures, and do I tell the city clerk or you or?
I believe that you do reach out to the city clerk, since they are in charge of that.
Mhm.
If you've got your item numbers and also sizes ready to go, I'm sure that's what she's going to ask for.
Okay,
And so that way you can move forward with those.
thank you.
That's great. Yeah. All right, thank you so much, Commissioner Amarati,
I have nothing. I have nothing.
All right,
Nothing to report,
thank you so much.
but thank you for the opportunity.
Commissioner Velasquez, do you have a commissioner's report on today?
Oh, yes. Gosh. In regards to the prom drive, I'm going to be sending out information regarding clothing donation. And so I just want to know, Regina, would I send that to you in regards to hopeful participation from the police department?
Do you mean just sending out the informational flyer to our department?
Yeah, just like
requesting donations?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Yes.
sure. Feel free to forward that along to me, then I can send it out to the department. Also, are you giving it, or sending it to the city clerk's office to put onto the city website?
Well, we haven't, it's still going to be at the Oldermeyer Center, but I don't think there's been a date picked yet, so I don't have that. But in regards to the clothing, like collection and donation, I could send that to the city clerk.
Yes.
That would be a good idea.
Okay,
She'll
I can do
have a
that
larger
also.
audience. Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Mhm.
That's all I have.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. We're going to go back to Vice Chair Thomas. She has a couple of events that she attended that she would like to give.
Yes, the chair did remind me that I did attend two events that were hosted by Seaside Police Department over the past month. First one was the 9/11 ceremony, which I believe I attended for the fourth time, which is always a very moving event commemorating 9/11. Chief Borges speaks and tells us that he was actually he was at 9/11 in 2000, and we've had several speakers and what is it called? The sirens the sirens. It's just a very poignant event that if you haven't attended it before, I highly recommend that you attend it next year. But it takes place on 9/11 right here at City Hall. Commissioner Amarante, did you have some?
Yeah, what year did the chief attend?
2002.
Yeah, because it happened 2001.
What?
No, thank you. 2001 is when it happened.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The second event that I attended was we had a speaker series with two of the major players in the O.J. Simpson trial that is celebrating its 30th anniversary, I believe, next week. Kato Kalin and Detective Tom Lang. And the case has always been very interesting to me because I was actually living in Los Angeles during this time. So I watched it very closely, as did everyone in Los Angeles. So it was just really interesting to hear some behind the scenes things that I hadn't heard of before. And also got an opportunity to meet Detective Lang and Kato Kalin, who are both really interesting individuals. And I'm sure Chief Borges is going to have a little bit more to say in his report. So I don't want to step on him, but I was there representing the commission, and it was a very well-attended event by a lot of law enforcement throughout the state of California. It was great. So thank you for bringing that here to us.
Thank you, Vice Chair Thomas. What a great pleasure it is to have you to be able to represent the commission at many of these events that the rest of us get to miss, not by choice, but so we really appreciate that. And I have no report on today, since I reminded Chair Thomas of her reports.
Was that an email that I must have just missed? I remember hearing at the last meeting we were going to get notified, and if it was an email, I'm sorry, I must have just missed it. Okay, I'll just have to pay better attention. Thank you.
Yeah, Gina sent it out. Yeah, well, so yeah, don't we all? But it was very interesting. Thank you. At this time, we'll move to staff reports. Report from staff.
actually, excuse me, Chief, Commissioner Velasquez has a
Okay.
question.
We'll go back to Commissioner Velasquez for her comment or question.
Sorry about that, because I just looked in my little notebook. I don't have another staff report. I actually, or not staff, but another commissioner report. I actually just had a question. I don't know. I guess I don't know at what time in the meeting we're supposed to ask these, but I wanted to know if we had any policy in regards to cyberbullying, like in regards to the city of Seaside, or I don't know if that's even something that somebody can be charged with, but do we have anything regarding that? And it was a question from a constituent.
I want to better understand the question. Are you asking if we, the police department, have a policy? Are we the city or we, the commission?
Well, is there anything like if someone is being cyberbullied, is that a chargeable offense?
It can be. It could be some form of harassment, depending on the nature of the bullying or that type of activity. It's possible, and I would just highly recommend that the constituent reach out to us, and we would be happy to evaluate that and see if that's something that we need to investigate, or maybe refer them. Depending if it's a student, refer them to the school, or if it's an adult or something that's threatening. It'd be good if they came to us with some detail. But yes, there are laws that do protect against certain types of bullying, harassing through the internet.
Okay, and then so being that you said there are, would you go to the city that you reside in, or would you go to the city where the person that is doing it resides?
If the person is the victim within that jurisdiction, I would recommend they start there first. That's the easiest way to do that, so they can communicate and pass that information to the authorities.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Talk a little bit about the increased police presence in the city. I guess I see a number of cars parked along here today in the city. I think it's very I thought it was very good. So I don't know what that is. I don't know how to say that.
You're not referring to City Hall, right?
No.
Yes, okay. Because I was going to say it's because we don't have a parking lot at City Hall.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah. So we do have cars parked throughout the city, and oftentimes when we see an uptick or an incident happens, in this case it was a shooting that happened a few weeks back, we will strategically place police cars. Our police cars are well equipped with interior camera systems, and we will strategically place those around certain areas for police presence and also to capture anything that could happen for evidentiary purposes. All right, thank you. I'll be brief, but just a couple of things. I guess I'll start where Miss Yvonne ended, and that is the O.J. Simpson 30-year debrief that we held here in Seaside. And I'm still kind of absorbing it. This is something I was always too interested in, and was fortunate enough through some connections I have through the LAPD to get in touch with Tom Lang, who is really one of the surviving lead detectives in the case. He is the surviving lead detective. There's another detective, Phil Van Etter, who passed away about 12 years ago. And there's other detectives. There was quite a few detectives on the case, but many of them did not play any of the role like Mr. Lang did. He was very much involved in the case. He was the one who was on the phone with O.J. Simpson during the slow speed pursuit, trying to talk him out of the situation. He's the one that notified Nicole Brown Simpson's family with a death notification when she had passed. Just a critical role. And in talking with him, he had informed me that he had done a recent podcast with Cato Kalin, and he thought it would be very entertaining to have him here as well, and educational. But Cato's personality is just a very positive, bubbly, entertaining person. So I connected with him, and he agreed he'd come to Seaside, and this was his very first ever law enforcement lecture to a live law enforcement audience. So that's kind of another Seaside first type of a thing. And here's a guy who's been on every major network platform, from Geraldo to Larry King, you name it. You can just look up the history on that, and never had spoken to a live law enforcement audience on the biggest murder case in American history, in my opinion, and in many others' opinion. And here he is in the city of Seaside. So my understanding is that when the local press is going to run a story, I think it's October 3rd, if I'm not mistaken, for the anniversary of the verdict, that Seaside will be featured in that local. We're now part of this local story, and I think I'm just proud of Seaside as always. But the education that came out of that, and the key for us having that here, is to learn. This case has been debriefed at major highly prestiged colleges and campuses and law school, you name it, throughout the country. So to have that here in Seaside, and have our police department and other police departments from around the state be educated on not just the publicity of the case, but the errors made in the case, from detectives to patrol officers to prosecution, and perspectives as witnesses, and their experiences with prosecution and defense, and just the whole dynamic. I think it really puts together an incredible learning experience for us, and to hear it firsthand. And I'll give one brief example. I've heard Cato Kalin tell the story of the night of the murders. O.J. Simpson came to the bungalow and asked to break a $100 bill for some change, and Cato Kalin didn't have the money, and and OJ had said he's going to go get some food, and Cato had never asked him before and asked him to go with him to get food. And I've heard him on podcasts and different platforms describe how there was an awkward pause, and he clearly didn't want Cato to come with him, and then let him go. Obviously said, yeah, come on, let's go. But to be in the room and present, and I had this, he told this to me twice, but to be across from a table from him and see his facial expressions and see how he was staring at me, and just the whole raw emotion to it, it felt like it was the first time I was hearing this, even though I'd heard this so many other times. But that's the kind of unique training that we're bringing in town here, is to have that real life experience so it actually sticks with you. So that was great. And I also thought it was great that Tom Lang has had a briefcase since the early 80s. It's his second briefcase, but the briefcase he brought to our event was the same briefcase he carried to court every single day during the O.J. Simpson trial. And I don't know if I was more excited to meet him because he's a legend, or take a picture with his briefcase. I have a picture with his briefcase, but for me, I think that's just really cool. So, but that's the things we're doing here in Seaside, and it's unique to Seaside. And Miss Gina here could be my witness to this, but the feedback we got, and people hearing about Seaside and wanting to come to what's next, is something we all can be proud of. So moving into some other hot topics. One is the fairgrounds event. I'm sure everyone heard about this. There was a large fight at the fairgrounds. From everything that we've gathered, the fight has to do with ongoing and historical issues between our youth, and not just the youth, but in this case, our youth, between Black and brown. The feuds, the fights, the hate that's involved there it's senseless, it's disgusting, and that's what's happening. A lot of times you'll hear outside residents just say it's gang activity, and there are some gang ties to certain things, but at the end of the day, I've said this and I'll say it again, it's hate. It's like hate crime. When you're targeting somebody because of the color of their skin, that is hatred. So a fight broke out there. It was pretty large, and it brought over to the Denny's parking lot. There were some issues that happened there. And then a little bit later in the evening, we had two vehicles. One was chasing another and just shooting like cowboys outside of a vehicle. Thankfully, they didn't hit anybody. How they didn't is beyond my belief, but they didn't hit anyone with gunfire in a dense residential area where there's a police car parked as of yesterday. And the team is just, they're talented and they're sophisticated. So they now give me a hard time because if if they don't solve it within 24 hours, they think that I'm upset with them because now that's kind of the bar. And I think 24 hours is a little long, to be honest. But in all honesty, they had this thing figured out within 2 days. They knew the cars involved. They knew who owned the cars. They knew names of people who were involved. They knew where they lived. They knew almost everything about them. And then we started really piecing things together and identified 3 suspects that were in the vehicle. And again, we have technology, not just Seaside, this whole county and this state really, but you cannot, I hope young people are listening to this. You cannot commit a crime in 2025 and think you're going to get away with it. It is so difficult. Don't ruin your life and make a very poor decision. And now you're in this case where now you have attempted murder charges on you, conspiracy charges on you, gang charges on you, because you acted in a fit of emotion and rage. We will get you. And I don't just say this to sound tough or scary. I'm not tough and scary. We will get you. We won't sleep. We'll be working around the clock. So we made 3 arrests, our final arrest, and I'm very proud of this one. I'll even give credit to the young man who did what he was supposed to do. They turned himself in. He turned himself in. The one that we believe was involved in the shooting with the weapon actually came to the police department last night around this time and turned himself in. That is a rare thing that happens, but I want to credit the detectives and the police officers because they don't just do things the old school way and police the old school way and we're going to get you and it's a cat and mouse game. They were talking to his family, his parent, his loved ones, his friends, reaching out saying, please, we'll facilitate this. You can come here. We'll treat you well. We'll feed you. Just come on in. I actually personally spoke to his mom yesterday in the afternoon as well. That doesn't always happen, but just that human piece of work with us. Somebody who was on the run for, I think it was 5 days, turned himself into us. There was a SWAT operation in Marina that was all related to all of this. He was on the run and he ultimately made the right decision. So I'll give him credit for turning himself in and doing that piece. But that tension still exists. And I think as a community, we have to continue to work on treating each other well and uniting with one another because it exists on this peninsula. There is this feud, this hatred that happens among young people in particular. And I think we need to spread a lot more love and unity in so many different ways because it really is senseless. And I wish a lot of these guys end up being minors, but I wish I could show the before there's this hate and anger and rage and we're going to get you. And then the after when they've committed an act and now it's all sinking in and now that you're incarcerated, now you have charges. I wish I could show like on live TV, this is not to embarrass anyone, but just to show, look at how broken this young person is now. I guarantee you they would not make that decision again. And now it's too late. Now you have an attempted murder charge on you that you're going to have to fight. So, lastly is I have a flyer here. I will pass it here and just in case you don't get the email, I want to make sure we're on the record here tonight. We host this every year. I think this will be our 4th year, if I'm not mistaken, but I think we're the only ones that does this around. I hope more will do it or even join us, but September 25th is the National Remembrance Day of homicide victims, and Seaside is huge on cold cases. I am huge on cold cases. So we've been doing this for a few years and we bring in families, we bring in police officers here in Seaside, and it's really where we come together. This is a great opportunity to follow up what I just said we should be doing. This is action. We come together with our community and get to hear from family members who have lost somebody that they loved, whether it's a child, a friend, whatever it may be. And for me, there's so many learning points to this, but I always look at my officers and I see the impact that it has. It's not just a case in front of you or someone that's passed away. This is a family. You get to hear them and how it's affected their lives. I don't want to jump too far ahead of myself, but I will just say I'm hopeful that we'll have an announcement at this particular event. I don't know that will be the case, but I'm very hopeful that it is. If it's not, it's still very impactful. But I have a good feeling there could potentially be an announcement at this meeting. So I encourage you all to join. I hope the public, it's on our social media. A press release went out today. We really want the community to come together and hear these stories and honor those who we have lost here. We don't care what they were involved in when their life was taken. I've heard people say, well, there's people involved in drugs or gangs. I don't care. This is somebody's relative, brother, sister, friend. Somebody loved this person. And it is our job as police to be the voice for those who can no longer speak. And we're going to always do that in Seaside. We have 33 unsolved cases. And I say this with a little bit of, not overconfidence, but maybe overambition. The goal is to solve every single case. I think that's a realistic goal. It may take longer than not, but we are constantly working on cases. And I'm proud to say, and I was working on something earlier, but we get contacted from outside jurisdictions on a regular basis now. I mean, it happens very frequently where people will come to us and say, can you help us with something? They'll see something in the media or hear about something, and they'll reach out to the City of Seaside Police Department and say, please help us here. And under my leadership, the answer is always going to be yes. We'll never step on another jurisdiction's toes, and we can never guarantee results, but we can always guarantee effort and do anything we can. And I'll steal something that Mr. Teddy Black said, and I think he said it at the last meeting when he spoke. Anyone that challenges that to say, why is Seaside doing this from something else, from another city? Murder travels, crime travels, and we want to send the message, we'll travel too. Don't come here. And with that, that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Chair Jones, Commissioner Velasquez has her hand raised in the gallery. Go ahead.
Oh, because I can't see the flyer, I just want to know the time and location.
I can send you the flyer.
Okay.
Thank you, Chief.
Can I just ask you a quick question? What day of the week is the 25th?
Thursday.
Thursday.
I think it is a Thursday.
Yes.
Today's
Thursday.
Thursday. Well, thank you.
Thursday.
That's what I thought. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Chief, did you say it was the 30th anniversary for the OJ trial?
1995 was the trial. The mirrors were in 94 and the verdict was in 95.
30 years.
30 years, yeah.
You must have been 12.
I was 13 years old. I was 13 years old. I'll have the city clerk cut that part from this meeting.
That's close. That's close.
Pretty close, yeah.
He was 12.
I was a kid. And I can remember every day I was in middle school, and every day I didn't understand the law, which is kind of a weird thing being where I'm at now. But I knew about the case. It was everywhere. It was on every TV show. I knew he had been arrested. I knew he was a major famous football player. I had seen him in the movies because he was a Naked Gun in those movies. So I kind of knew who he was. I recognized him. And in my mind, at 13 years old, is okay, he's been arrested, he's been charged, and he has to go to court. So I thought it'd be like one day like this. You come into court, you're found guilty or innocent, and it's over. And this thing went on for days and weeks and months. And I was so confused as a teenager going, why are they still at court? They can't figure this out in a day. And now understanding trials and evidence and witnesses, it's just come full circle. But it's one of those cases where I've worked homicides, I've worked investigations, so I have a whole different perspective, and there's so many things to learn from. And we didn't invite Mark Furman. I don't think that would have been well received. He's still alive, but there's so many mistakes. I'll just share one critical error. Obviously, we know the major ones that affected everything and really divided communities. But one of the things that I didn't know of until recently is Mark Furman was one of the first detectives. I think he was actually the first detective at the Bundy murder scene where Nicole and Ron were. And he always took copious notes of everything. Questions he would have in his mind, he would write down what his question is of why does it look like there's a dog bite or why, whatever it may be. And he then goes to the Rockingham location, and he's the one who finds a glove. Obviously, he finds a bunch of evidence. He finds clothes in the dryer that appear to be freshly washed and blood stains everywhere in the house. And he's noting all these things. And then when he's finally cleared because the lead team is there and they're taking over, he hands his notes over to Phil Van Adder and says, here's my notes. And Phil Van Adder, double homicide, 2 different scenes, all kinds of stuff, celebrity stuff going on. And he puts the notes in his file and doesn't see those notes till weeks later. And now all that evidence that they had is, what about the clothes in there? It's gone. OJ's been back home. I mean, all of this critical evidence is completely gone. And I think that's a huge lesson I want my officers to hear. If you take notes, we have body cams now, but we still take notes. If you find something of value, it's okay to be a human and talk and say, hey, just so you know, here's my notes, but there's clothes in there. I don't know if there's blood on them. There's blood on that light switch. There's this and this and this. That's one mate for me. It's frustrating, and I don't want to take too much time, but then there's also a key witness who, right after, around the time frame of the homicides, she claims that, and I didn't know how I felt about this until recently. She claimed that she saw O.J. Simpson fleeing the scene with his lights off, and an intersection almost hits her, and yelling out of a window. And she recognized his voice from a Naked Gun movie. She kind of mixed up who he was at first, but as soon as she heard his voice and saw him, she goes, "Oh, that's O.J. Simpson." Then I learned this recently, is not only did she report it that very night, so it's not like she wasn't used as a witness because she collected some money for talking to the show Hard Copy back then, but she wasn't used for that reason because she had collected money, which turns out was really nothing because she had to get an attorney. But the day of the incident, it's reported to the dispatcher. She reports in and gives O.J. Simpson's license plate. This is the vehicle. This is the description of the car. This is who I saw, and here's his license plate number. And most recently, Jill is her name, Jill Shively. She found the business card of the police officer, and on that business card is O.J. Simpson's license plate. And she's just found that, I think, within the last year or so. So all these things for me now in a position where this could be us one day, it's learning lessons. So I get excited about it.
I have so many stories that I need to tell you at some point about my time in Los Angeles with that, because I mentioned at the event that I was a sports broadcasting major at USC. OJ was on campus all the time. I used to study in Heritage Hall, which is where all of the Heisman trophies are. I used to sit on the floor, and OJ would be like upstairs, and he was a god on campus. So it was just terrible to see his downfall.
Yeah.
But I was also very close friends with one of OJ's ex-girlfriends. And we used to go over to the Rockingham house all the time prior to the murder. So I knew the house. I knew the house.
Wow.
When this all showed up on the news, it was like, we knew the back gate. We knew all of this stuff about the house and where Nicole lived. It was just, it was just freaky. So we're going to have to go to lunch one day and talk.
Maybe longer lunch. It's just a fascinating case, but I mean, that case alone, you can learn so much. And it really is they say that Kato Kaelin is really the very first reality TV star, because he came out as kind of a fun, whatever your opinion is of him. He really is a great human being, and he loves Seaside now. He's like Seaside in and out. He just loves. I took him on a quick ride along, and everything about Seaside he loved. Oh my God, that's amazing! Look at this place. Oh, that's so cool, and he just loved it. And Detective Lang, he just sent me something in the mail today. Just a sweet guy. He sent me a 1970s police LAPD detective, like the original 1970 that they were giving to their people at the time. So it was a very nice gesture of him. They're just great people with good hearts, and I think if you sat down and listened to them, you believe them. I don't sense any type of misleading, and they're just telling what their truth is, and that's powerful. And there's a lot to learn from that truth.
I agree. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chief.
I just wanted to comment on one more thing you said earlier about the youth and the violence, and about how the difference between their anger then and their anger now. As a correction officer, over 30 years, and as even now as a pastor doing community work with people who have the community service because of a crime that they committed, and they got community service, and so they come to the church and they do community service there, and just sitting and talking with the people about what were you thinking, what were you going through now, and then what would you do different now, and just to see the difference from their story as to, oh, I was mad, I was so upset, you know, me and my girl was doing this and I got drunk and now now I got DUI and blah, blah, blah. But now I think looking back on it, I would never do that
Mhm.
again. Right. And so to see the difference there is it's just amazing sometimes. And some people learn, of course, as you know,
Yeah.
some people don't.
That's right.
You know, they go back and repeat the same things again. So it was very interesting. And when it comes to our youth, and I know this is a open question. You know, I'm kind of not really, I mean, it's just an open question. But I was trying to figure out what could the commission do? And I know you have, Cass wants to talk to us later about something that he had, an idea that he has probably for the commission to do. So, so I won't even ask that question.
But I do want to follow up with that because I think there's already things in place, and I think it would be critical if members of the commission. We had today our monthly youth violence prevention meeting at the Oldenmeyer Center. It happens once a month, and I want to say the 15th of October is the next meeting, if my memory serves me correctly. But it's at the Oldenmeyer Center at 3:30, and we have nonprofits from over Monterey County. We have CPY, we have the Powell Group, we have the Seaside Resource Center, Sun Street,
Road to Success, Sun Street.
Juvenile Justice, everything that really, and I'm open to all ideas, but I think that formed group and task force is the greatest place for us to come together. And I would have to get some insight from the city clerk on the Brown Act and how that works if we're all there. But one of our council members was there, and oftentimes the mayor will come when he can. But I think that's the table to be at, to sit as a community, to share ideas, to tap into resources, to understand what the climate is around. And the school is there, and PUSD is there. The principal of Seaside High was there today, and he's been frequent now in coming to these meetings. So if you guys want, I would highly recommend if you reached out to Mr. Teddy Black or Damian Garrett at the Seaside Youth Resource Center. They can get you on their email list and get you as an attendee. I would just recommend checking with the city clerk or even the city attorney to make sure there's no Brown Act violations if the entire commission's in there, because I'm not familiar with the laws and the ins and outs of those. But I think that's something good for this group.
If I could add something, and I'm going to retire October 3rd, so I'll be available to start going to those meetings. I've never been to one of the meetings because I've been working during those meeting times. I would hope, I don't know how it can happen, and I don't know all the circumstances around it, but it's my understanding that there are certain agencies that choose not to attend those meetings. I don't know how we could attract them. And that's something I would be very interested in. You probably have a lot of insights into what's going on with all that. I know the agency I'm with, for whatever reason, doesn't participate. I'd love to see those bridges crossed. I think they're very important. The key is right there, these kids. I mean, I'm fortunate enough to be familiar with quite a few kids now in our community. And a lot of it has to do with a lot of things, dynamics going on. You two guys are in it. I don't know. Tony, sounds like you're in it a lot more than I am. I'm hoping to get more involved. And that sort of leads, I actually wrote down Blue Ribbon Task Force because that's what I used to know it as.
Right.
That you're referring to. And Ted's asked me and such as that. I know the DA has representatives that Amy goes there. No. So that was just a comment. One of the questions I had, are we feeling any pressures about this whole ICE business or federal pressure in our community? Have we been getting a lot of raids in this area, or is this something we can't talk about? Or I'm just curious at this point how much it's impacting our I know it's impacting the concerns of several of the people that I know. Even the church I go to, it's a topic. What can we do? Is there something that's impacting the police department in that venue at this time?
The short answer is no,
Okay.
but they're absolutely. It's a little bit milder than it was maybe 3 weeks ago, but certainly there is a sentiment of fear and concern around our community of immigration, in particular them doing raids and random sweeps and things of that nature. So that exists. I've spoken now at 2 different churches. The city managers participated in that as well to try to really communicate. And our role in the police department is very simple. It's non-political. It's factual. We are not federal agents. We don't enforce immigration. We don't participate or aid, nor do they ask us for any type of aid. So a lot of times people, whatever side of the argument they're on, they get very upset when I say this, but that's the facts. I am not federalized. Just like an FBI agent wouldn't come and pull over a DUI in California and arrest them for DUI, they have no jurisdiction over that law. But communication is absolutely key. And we have been, by far, in my opinion, the most transparent police department and built relationships with the leadership of ICE and Homeland Security in Seaside, in the county. They represent Monterey County, their jurisdiction, to have communication. And all we ask from them, and they have, as of this time, been compliant and cooperative, is please, when it's safe to do so in a reasonable amount of time, please let us know if you're in town. They won't tell us why or specifics, but they will tell us, at least at this point, if they are in town or we're in town and they're leaving, and essentially what their target is. And so far, I don't have the exact number. I want to say maybe 4. Let's just call it 5 to be safe. But since the beginning of the year, around 5 that we are aware of, where they notified us, that I'm aware of, where they let us know they're in town, and it's been targeted individuals, people that have already been deported, have criminal cases, and they're going after those individuals who are here living. I don't remember the last one, but it was posted. I mean, we put some information out on our social media. The news picked up on it. I want to be fair. I think it was 2 months ago, maybe it was a month ago, but I think 2 months sounds about more accurate. I have not been advised of any additional reports. There were specific individuals that they were looking for. I couldn't tell you who they were, but they assured me these people had some very dangerous past, and there are people that were here illegally, and that's what they were targeting. So that alone has helped us out. And part of what we talked about, or at least what I had said at some of these meetings, is ICE Block. It's an app where it's free. You can go download it right now, and it's designed so the public can be alerted wherever if they see ICE. The problem is we have people, we've been Zoom bombed here, as have every agency, I think, in the county and maybe even the state. But you have people who have bad hearts, and they're going to tap into people's fear. So there's times where I've seen that app and I look at it and I know they're not in town. We've not been notified. The real reports come in when residents start to call us and saying, hey, what's this van over, or whatever it may be. But I've seen things where they say Starbucks, there's a bunch of ICE agents, ICE Block. And if you're within a certain radius on this app, it'll alert you that ICE is in this area. And I'm literally at a light looking at Starbucks and I see 2 of my police officers parked there. There's no ICE agents. So people are doing this, either they're not educated to do it, or they're doing this maliciously. And I think you have a lot of malicious intent, young people probably trying to be funny or cute, and they're scaring the community. So there's been no reports of them going to schools or any of that stuff. And from when I talked to them, and again, it was earlier in the year with Homeland Security, they were this one individual was trying to create a scenario where they even would go into a school. And I remember what he told me. He says, I don't see any reason we would, but we can. And the scenario he thought of, he said, maybe if we were after a high level target that we could not capture, either already incarcerated or at home, and we had a tip or saw them dropping somebody off at a school, we probably would move in on that target because they're so slippery we can't catch them at their house or anywhere other location. He said, but even then, we would just follow them and wait for them to stop at another location, not just a school, but a less populated area. So these things change day by day, but I can only speak to today. And as of today, I think Seaside as a city has done a good job of communicating, hosting trainings with the county, with our council member, and communicating. So I don't know if that answers your questions, but I feel like
I appreciate the
Yeah.
time you spent on it, and it certainly helps me understand it. It is such a double-edged sword, this whole business is, and I appreciate that. I can tell you by personal experience, I mean, my daughter, the last time this individual was the president, was dating an individual who's had undocumented parents, and they were scared to death. I mean, they really were. And they've been in this community for 20, they still are, been in this community over 20 years, both of them worked full time, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of misperceptions going on. But thank you for answering that in such detail. I appreciate that.
If I can just add one other point, and that is, and this is what I try to communicate as well, the only way for a local police officer, for Seaside Police to have any type of, or for the ICE to be alerted is if somebody's arrested. We use fingerprints, live scan. That is the Department of Justice. If somebody is arrested on a criminal charge and they're live scanned, they are alerted. They will be alerted. And that's how it happens when they go into county jail or any police department. If they are taking your fingerprints, that is a database that someone will be alerted. And that has been going on, by the way. I've been here almost 23 years, since day one, where ICE can get involved if you're arrested. So I always tell people, just be mindful. That's the honest truth. That's how they get alerted of things. It's not like we're sending reports anywhere or they're asking us.
Get a background check down at the place where you get take your fingerprints, that it'll come through.
If there's a report on somebody's criminal history, the Department of Justice will be alerted and ICE has access to that.
Another question if you don't mind sharing a little bit. I'm hoping, and I'm looking for feedback with my other commissioners, that once I get into more of a position to have more time during the day, let's just start building relationships with these schools. I don't really have a great understanding of how all the different agencies are working together. I mean, we've got the Village Project. I understand we have the monthly meeting. I presume they attend. We have a lot of agencies in this community and in the whole county that all try to interact to work with the kids and to try to get a handle on that. Do you have a recommendation for how we could educate ourselves as to what's happening? We limited ourselves so far into just looking at what our city itself sponsors, the programs. And your people are doing, our people are doing a great job. You know, we talked to Derek and Ted and others from the fire department and such. But I know that there's some very active, as you probably know better than I do, active players. You already mentioned Sun Street Centers. I know Al Morales there. I know the Village Project has some very active people. There's another program I can't think of at the top of my head by Burger King.
CPY.
And they're very active in the community. So then there's a Partnership for Peace people out of Salinas. All these people have things going to support parents and parenting classes and all this kind of stuff. Is that something we're interested in finding more about? Is it something you'd rather us kind of steer away from? I'm trying to get a kind of a big picture of how you do community policing is what I'll call it, the old term, where you know the families, you get to know. I've seen your officers in action. They are awesome. Okay, as a citizen and otherwise. And a lot of that has to do with them trusting and knowing people in the community and vice versa. What I'm trying to get to is, as a commission, is this something that like if another commissioner and I wanted to go visit and talk, we have a new principal, as you know, out at Seaside High. If we wanted to go talk to them, I've informally mentioned that we may be looking for a candidate and to encourage kids to put in to come onto this commission. Those sorts of things. Are these areas that would give you concern if we kind of reached out and started trying to educate ourselves better about the different players out here in the community? Or
No, and I would just go back to my original statement about the task force. I still call it that as well, even though it's referred to now as the youth violence prevention. But I think that is the exact platform of, and it doesn't have to be everyone. It could be one person, 1 month, one the next. But having that representation will satisfy all of those things. And I encourage anyone that has an ambition to try to keep youth out of trouble and keep them on the right path. I will not be in anybody's way of that.
so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, guys, is that's kind of, I'm hopefully going to have more time here soon. I didn't want to get into something and rock somebody's boat and not realize. Sometimes you can do that. You got something that isn't broken, you go in there and try to fix it, you know. I don't want to do that. But that was the main stuff I was talking about. I also know we have, at least in theory, there's a county curfew on kids from 10 to 6. They're not allowed to be away from home unless they're with a parent or someone, an adult, responsible adult the parent has designated. I don't know if that's ever, is that actually, I can't imagine that's enforced very much, or am I wrong?
No, it is. I mean, we don't get a lot of those things, but if there's a young person out past a curfew, we call parents and have for forever. Before my time, it's been a custom for us to call a parent and let them know, hey, your 15-year-old's in the backseat of a car here, or they're in the drive-through of Burger King, or whatever it is. We do that quite regularly, or at playground after hours.
I doubt that most parents even know it's, did you guys all, you all might know this, I didn't until a couple of years ago, that curfew, that's apparently county ordinance or something to that effect. I didn't even know it existed.
Yeah, Seaside has a curfew for minors.
Yeah, I think the whole county does too.
I think you're right. It's pretty common in most
Yeah.
municipalities to have a curfew for minors.
So anyway, I'm
Yep.
diverging a little bit, but so there's tools out there that I think we can educate ourselves with too. I'm gonna let you go so you can, it's been a long day, I'm sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. And
Nothing to report from me.
okay, thank you for your staff reports. Appreciate that. Appreciate all the hard work, Chief, that you do and and men and women that work with you, police department. So thank you for keeping us safe. At this moment, we're just waiting for a motion to adjourn.
But can am I allowed at this point to ask for something to be placed on the agenda next time? And then let us go. I don't know if I'll be successful, but I'd like to build on something that was asked about cyberbullying earlier. There's a lot of different streams that it goes off into, including sexual stuff. But if I can find someone that's knowledgeable about that, maybe invite them to speak to us about it,
Sure.
and from their perspective.
Absolutely.
Maybe we put that on the agenda for next time, and hopefully I can find somebody. Thank you.
So what am I placing on the agenda? Are you going to have someone come present, or are you just asking permission to potentially have someone if you find them?
If I find them I guess I can, before I tell them to show up and everything, I want to make sure we're clear that if I do find somebody, all I need to do is contact you and say, we have a speaker.
Correct. So the next scheduled meeting is October 15th.
Okay.
So make sure that it's done within the time frame, so that way we can set them up and get things arranged.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's it.
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
It's been moved that we adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Move in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned at 6:42 PM.
Have a good evening, guys.
Thank you too.